tuning in to the online broadcast network, Afterbuzz TV. Over 20 million weekly downloads in over 150 countries, and your number one source for after-show entertainment. Afterbuzz TV, the destination for TV superfans. Producing aftershows for over 300 of your favorite TV shows. Interviewing celebrities and showrunners. And bringing you behind-the-scenes exclusives. All thanks to E! Entertainment's Markeia McCarty, producer Kevin Undergaro, and internet leader Akamai. Now, let the buzz begin!
Oh, you knew we were going to make a joke, didn't you, people? Ooh, do you remember this one? Woo! That is how we are beginning this Afterbuzz TV Smackdown After Show. My name is Christy Olson, and we are going to begin with what is the biggest breaking news story, I believe, of the year for WWE, and chat a little bit about it. Thank you for joining us. If you're hitting us up on YouTube, we appreciate a thumbs up. Leave some comments for us. I see all the usual suspects hanging out there in the chat. We are also on SoundCloud and iTunes. Give us 5 stars. Let us know what you think about SmackDown, about this show, about what we are about to discuss right now. Major news, but I'm not all alone here because that wouldn't be any fun. Tell them who you are, people.
I am Ty Matthews. I am usually a co-host of the Monday Night Raw Afterbuzz.
Yay.
Invading SmackDown here. I've got my blue on, ready to talk about it.
I appreciate that color coordination.
Of course.
Thank you, Ty.
Yeah, just happy to be here. Happy to talk about it. And it's crazy. Yeah, like you said, the biggest kind of breaking news that we've had. So interested to get into that and talk all about it.
Yeah, and I'm Markeia McCarty. I don't know how long you've been watching AfterBuzz or wrestling, but maybe you remember me from AfterBuzz doing the main event when that happened, when AfterBuzz covered that. Really enjoyed all that wrestling. And every now and then I get to sub on SmackDown with Rosenberg and now with Christy, and I like this.
Yeah, yes.
Nice.
I'm so glad that you could come tonight.
Yeah,
This is going to be a lot of fun. Christian and Scott will be back soon, and actually Christian's going to be calling in to weigh in on this big story, which let's get to it right now. You may have all heard by now, and we saw on SmackDown tonight, so this is officially coming from the WWE people. I know I get raked over the coals for spreading rumors sometimes, but this is actual news. Seth Rollins, the heavyweight champion, has a torn right ACL, MCL, and medial meniscus. He will be out for 6 to 9 months. This is major, so he, of course, will not be available for Survivor Series. There's actually going to be a tournament at Survivor Series to see who will be grabbing his belt that has been vacated. Now, this happened in Dublin. Apparently, reportedly, he was doing a sunset flip powerbomb on Kane, and this didn't take him out of the match. He actually powerbombed Kane again through a table and finished the rest of the match in Dublin. So what do you guys think about this?
I think...
Go for it.
Because Kane's soul was stolen by Bray Wyatt, that's why this entire accident happened. I mean, that was exactly... I mean, obviously, it all traces back to Bray. It makes complete sense. You know, and all I can say is no, not again. Just when you have this fantastic storyline that can happen, this fantastic, I mean, they had this beautiful feud set up with him and Reigns, and now it's a free-for-all again, and I'm so frustrated.
And it's, I guess, when it first happened, everyone didn't think it was nearly as bad as it was. You know, they say his knee buckled. Obviously, he was able to finish the match. And then next thing you know, I think around noon today, they're saying, you know, he's out 6 to 9 months, which obviously even more tragic. It means he's definitely going to miss WrestleMania.
Yes. Yeah, we can do that math. That puts WrestleMania out for sure.
Yeah.
And not only that, but right now they don't have John Cena. He's off shooting a reality show. Randy Orton hurt his shoulder taking out the garbage. It's going to be a while. They've actually announced that officially as well until he'll be back. We know Daniel Bryan's out with no possible return. I mean...
And it's obviously, you know, when it rains it pours, but I think these are the types of situations where WWE really thrives. You know, if you look at when WWE was feuding with WCW, WCW was raiding all of their top guys. They lost Hogan, they lost Flair, they lost, you know, Macho Man. They had to build new stars out of nothing, basically. And they have an opportunity to do it all again.
That is actually a really good point, because now we're going to get to see, you know, B cards step up and show their A game. So that's that's something to actually look forward to. I mean, we get another good underdog.
And we've seen plenty from Cesaro, you know, the kind of support that he's gotten. So I think if they've got, you know, if there's ever been a time to really shotgun him to the top, I think now is it.
Okay, well, that was going to be my next question. Who are you guys looking to kind of take that top spot now that it's been vacated?
Well, I've always been a fan of Dean Ambrose. I love the lunatic fringe. He's always been the Joker of my heart. But the only thing is that they've really built up this thing between him and Kevin Owens over the Intercontinental. And I think that would be really fun if he was, you know, heavyweight, and then you could have something with Reigns right then, and then you have like him being top dog over Kevin Owens, and then them butting heads with each other. So I think that might be a good fit.
Well, I need this not to go to Roman Reigns for sure. So please and thank you on that
Why
one.
you Reigns hating?
That's just too cheesy.
Well, it's
Third
funny.
generation wrestler.
See, it's funny. It's funny
I do
that
give
you
him
say
the
that.
respect.
It's funny that you say that because the last time that we saw a championship tournament at Survivor Series was back in 1998 when The Rock became the corporate champion. He turned heel on Mick Foley, joined the corporation, and I think, you know, WWE loves nostalgia. They love kind of playing up their greatest hits.
True that.
We could see deja vu with Roman Reigns turning heel, joining the Authority, becoming the new corporate champion.
And you know what? I feel like that's a Roman Reigns that I could get on board with.
I feel like if we build this tournament, if we build Roman Reigns unstoppable force, Cesaro on the other side unstoppable force, they're, you know, facing each other, two baby faces in the finals, having a good sportsmanlike, gentlemanly match, and finally Reigns is getting more and more frustrated. He ends up turning heel. That way we've got a heel champion that no one's afraid to boo. We've got a face challenger no one's afraid to cheer. You know, we've got a brand new main event program with two fresh faces.
Yeah, all his moves change from Superman Punch to Apocalypse Punch.
There you go. There you go. Exactly.
I mean,
love
it works already.
That's really good.
I like that. Well, I do have to take this opportunity just to say also, I've kind of been pushing for a Ryback to have a big spot at WrestleMania. And I know that he himself has been talking about he would love to go up against Brock Lesnar. And I kind of think he's in the spot right now where there is enough time to build him to that level and to do a Lesnar Ryback at WrestleMania for the heavyweight title. Obviously, we have to have it before then. But so that's where my vote goes.
That would be a great program, absolutely.
Right?
And I think that if there's going to be anything that elevates Ryback to the status where he was at when he first, you know, came back as Ryback, I think a feud with Brock Lesnar could really do it. You know, maybe if they throw Lesnar in the tournament as kind of a big question mark, you know, is he going to steamroll over everyone? And then maybe Ryback pulls off an upset and eliminates him, you know?
Yes, see, we like it.
Yeah, possibility. And, you know, worst case scenario, he replaces Ambrose in the Intercontinental, you know, rivalry, as in Ambrose gets the WWE Heavyweight Championship. I'm still going to push for it.
Well, yeah, because the Ryback Kevin Owens thing was working pretty well, too.
Sure,
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah. Well, do we have Christian Rosenberg on the line to weigh in on this?
We do not, but I'm definitely in the Cesaro section.
There we go. James,
hey.
he knows.
Any other thoughts on all this, James?
I feel bad for Rollins, but this is what happens when you work on the indies for a decade and beat your body up
Absolutely.
to try and get to the WWE, and then when you're finally there, their schedule takes its toll on you.
Right.
So, like, sadly enough, like, it's probably going to happen to Kevin Owens. It's probably going to happen to Dean Ambrose.
See, Owens, I don't necessarily think so. I think with someone like Rollins, you're taking that Daredevil style, you're extrapolating it onto the WWE schedule, so something like this even is inevitable. But someone like Kevin Owens, I think he works maybe a little bit smarter, a little bit lower risk. So I think maybe he's not as susceptible to it.
Okay, I like that. Well, that was our engineer, James, weighing in. He's going to continue to chime in because he knows what he's talking about. I mean, he's a super fan, too. So, actually, SmackDown kicked off tonight. Let's get into the show, because I'm kind of loving this Mex America thing. I have to say, like, I don't hate it. I'm, like, ready to run to be, like, the first president of Mex America, like, vote for Christy.
Sure.
Yeah,
And this was kind of a good promo. So Zeb came out. He's talking about haters are not allowed. You know, the black hearts, the liars. These are not the kind of people who are welcome in Mex America. Right? And we certainly don't have any of those folks here at the Afterbuzz TV.
Of course not.
No. I actually love the concept of Mex America.
Yeah.
You know, I want a tamale in one hand and a Bud Light in the other.
It's, you know, I talked about it a little bit on the Raw Afterbuzz, and it's interesting that they're taking this concept of patriotism and unity, but they're making it exclusive to just Mexico and America and nobody else. Like, we can unite everyone else can screw off, you know. But it was great, you know. I think Del Rio, you know, obviously he gets a big return when he comes back, has a great match with Cena, but really where Del Rio thrives is in the spot of one of the, you know, top heels. And I think putting him with Zeb, who's, you know, I think the next best heel manager next to Paul Heyman, is kind of, you know, a stroke of genius.
For sure.
I do like that they could have some
Rosenberg on the
real.
line whenever you guys are
Oh,
ready.
do we?
Oh, fantastic. Well, you know what? Let's take him right now. Christian, are you there, darling?
I am here. I've been trying to get in. I've been hanging out with everyone in the chat roll, listening to you guys, rocking it out.
Oh, well, we love that.
Yeah, I wanted to. I'm in good old Massachusetts, where ironically it's actually warmer here today than Los Angeles,
Lame.
which
Interesting.
makes no sense.
No.
Do all your relatives
But,
say, "Oh, Christian"? Well, they don't say, "Oh, Christian," but they say, "You brought the sunshine with you. You brought the warm weather with you," right?
That's exactly how my mother sounds.
I
Yeah,
Nailed it.
I know.
Nailed it.
you got it exactly right. But yeah, go figure. The 1 week that I'm out of town, the biggest story of the year happens.
You
He's
know?
so chapped about that. You guys have no idea.
They were just waiting. They were like, all right, as soon as Christian leaves
Yeah,
town.
you're like, when's Christian gonna be gone? That's when we drop the hammer.
So, what are your thoughts, Christian?
I mean, well, my type of thoughts are the fact, you guys kind of touched on it already. First off, it's just you've got to feel bad for Rollins. I mean, this is a guy who literally was working every single show. You know, champion. You know, there are some champions that, let's be honest, they would take SmackDown off, but Rollins was on pretty much every week, along with all the house shows, along with everything else, and he was having such a good reign. You just feel bad for him. Aaron Young had pretty much the same injury that Rollins has. He was out somewhere between 9 months and a year. So, you know, the fact that he has to deal with this, it's terrible. But then if you're trying to find a blessing in the skies, then, you know, Tyler, you brought it up as far as like the Deadly Games type tournament at Survivor Series. This is a great opportunity for WWE to elevate someone like a Cesaro or like an Ambrose, and really get the people behind even more, or turn them and have them join the Authority.
Sure.
And I mean, the most likely you got to think, you know, this Raw is going to be just a bunch of qualifying matches for the tournament,
Right.
and then you can pretty much do the entire Survivor Series pay-per-view can pretty much be the tournament, the Undertaker Wyatt match, and the Divas title match, and that's you don't need the other titles, because you can make this, even though they only have less than 2 weeks, you can make this so big in such a short time if you just put all the precedents in it.
And you've got to think that Owens and Del Rio are going to be in the tournament themselves.
Of course.
Right? Yeah, I would think there would be. I would think at least one member of New Day is in the tournament. You know, and I know like everyone's just kind of taking their guesses at stuff, but I would not be surprised if we have an Ambrose heel turn, if anything.
Interesting.
Oh.
Okay.
I wish.
You know, like someone else slicing things away from Reigns.
Sure.
But who knows? There's so many ways they can take this, and as bad as you feel, you know, about Rollins being out, it can turn into an opportunity to boost ratings for WWE.
Right.
And I mean, and who knows? You could call someone up from NXT to make a splash.
that'd be
Cena
fun.
could, you know, Cena. Even though he's out filming, he could still show up.
Yeah, a lot of people are saying that.
You know, you could throw a complete curveball and somehow have Bray Wyatt walk out of Survivor Series with the title. Who knows?
Yeah, you never know. We could see a Samoa Joe appearance or a Finn Balor appearance in the tournament.
What about a Daniel Bryan return?
Oh,
Oh, man.
stop. Don't even say that, because
Now
that just
you're
makes me
just-
happy inside.
So, I mean, there are lots of possibilities. So I'm really intrigued for Raw and SmackDown next week to see how they work all this stuff in. But but I don't want to keep you guys from bringing out SmackDown because I know how excited you are, Christy, that I'm not there. So
You got me. Yeah, go vacate, Christian. We're good. We're good. But I'm so glad that our fans got to hear your thoughts on this, and we will be looking forward to seeing you back next week.
I'll be back next week, Markeia. It is awesome seeing you back on Afterbuzz TV. It's been too long.
Yeah.
Tyler, you look stunning behind blue.
Oh, you're too kind. You're too kind.
You know, it's so great. And Christy, don't get too comfy in the host chair. All right.
I'll try. Bye, honey.
Thanks for the compliments, Christian.
Yeah, right. Well, we love getting his thoughts too. Let's jump back into this Del Rio versus Neville match.
Definitely.
This one was fast paced. Del Rio was like healing it up, major big time. I don't know if that's a phrase. I just made it one. Yeah. What did you guys think?
Well, I basically saw it Mex America versus Ragdoll Neville. Yeah, it was, Del Rio took it right at the beginning with like the backstabber and just like he held on with both hands and smashed Neville around all around that ring. You knew just the power of Mex America was going to triumph, and it obviously did.
Yeah, he was throwing Neville went into the barricade a few times. Like, I mean, this was kind of a
really.
match.
There's not many people that can take the kind of a beating that Neville can. And Del Rio with his style, he's got a pretty hard hitting style. So I think he's at his best when he's swatting guys like that right out of the air.
Well, Neville did get his little moonsault onto the outside, so he did get one move in, but that seemed to take them both out.
Right, definitely.
Right?
And that's, in theory, that's kind of the trade off of this high risk style. We see it both in kayfabe turns and in real life with things like Seth Rollins happening. You take these risks. Sometimes it pays off. Sometimes it doesn't.
Yeah, can we say original Sin Cara?
Right.
I was just reading about him today. I know.
Oh, goodness.
I know. Well, Del Rio pins Neville for the win, and then Jack Swagger comes out.
Well, Del Rio puts a couple more boots to him, slaps on that
Double
cross arm breaker
stomp in the corner.
He's not ready to be done with Neville.
He slaps on that cross arm breaker. Out comes Jack Swagger, and there's a little bit of a tease. You think maybe Jack Swagger's going to join Mex America, but he's there to protect Neville.
Which was
that was left up in the air after Raw.
Right.
Because he's all America, right?
He's all America.
He was protecting Neville. It's like, we don't really do that.
Right.
Yeah, and he got some USA chants out of it. I think that maybe that's exactly what they were going for.
Yes. Yeah, and I think that's what Jack Swagger needs. Jack Swagger, he goes through these waves of being around and then being gone and then being around and then being gone. And so I think there's a lot of potential, emotion and material to mine out of his relationship with Zeb Coulter.
Yeah. And then you could have some traction with the whole Mex America thing. Mex America versus Russia.
Sure.
Versus maybe Mex America versus the Luchas. Just one.
Yeah.
Maybe Kalisto or...
there you go.
Yeah.
It's like, that could work. You've got a lot of traction with this.
I like those ideas.
Mex America versus New Day.
Oh, yeah.
I'm pretty sure that'll be coming at some point.
Oh, yeah.
Probably
Positivity.
sooner rather than later. But a couple other folks who have made their return just recently on Raw are the Usos.
Yeah, they're
so happy to have these guys back, right?
First time on SmackDown after 7 months.
That's
crazy.
a long time, dude.
Especially for those two.
Right.
Oh, my goodness.
Especially in wrestling time, that's like an eternity.
It's absolutely in wrestling time. Everything goes by so much slower.
Well, and they were clearly amped. Like, I mean, they came out too on Raw just crazy, and that's what I love about them is that spirit. They were just ready to go. Jimmy started off with like a dance break.
Well, we've got them
beginning, which was
facing off
very
with
enjoyable.
the Ascension. We've got them facing off with Connor and Victor of the Ascension. 2/3 of the Cosmic Wasteland.
Yeah.
Sadly missing Stardust.
Yeah, because he's probably already over in Europe, right? Is that the idea?
Right.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
I'd like to think he's just off in the Stardust section,
He's in the
just
Cosmos.
watching him with his little
Yes.
binoculars. He's in the Cosmos, exactly. He's playing Battlefront with Xavier Woods.
I love it. Jay goes nuts on Victor. The Usos break out a couple double kicks. They're in sync, and I was complaining that the Luchas were out of sync last week, so maybe Luchas take a little note from the Usos. Jay off the top rope for the win.
We see some I think the hallmark of really good, really entertaining tag team wrestling is really dynamic double team moves, and we saw that from both of these teams. Even the Ascension, who doesn't get to bust out too much offense. You know, they had a really, really solid catapult right into a spine buster. That was just, you know, I think the Usos are two more guys that can really take a beating and really make it look good. But then they start throwing those super kicks around, those double super kicks, and everything's all good.
Yeah. And then plus that, just the personality that these two guys, Jimmy and Jay, they embody in the ring. Once both of them get in the ring and they're doing the double kicks together and you know, tossing people out of the ring, and they're so happy and they're enthused and they jump out of the ring. It's just it's fantastic. I love that these guys are back.
Sure, it's the same thing as Rikishi, same thing as their dad. You know, they're just so fun to watch. They're so amped up. You can't help but be excited watching them in the ring.
They're just so freaking much fun. Oh, I love it. I love it. Well, glad to have them back. That was a great, although very short match. Now we see one of these big, I have to watch myself because I can't speak too negatively about Bray Wyatt because y'all don't like that. So Bray Wyatt comes out with, which was actually a very good promo. He's talking about how he has Undertaker's and Kane's souls, and that's giving him the power, and now he has all the power, and it really was good, and it really told a story and was kind of important, but I just don't.
I think, and I went on and on about this on Monday. I'm 1,000% on board with this.
Yeah.
You know, with WWE, and I think with pro wrestling in general these days, it gets so caught up in being grounded in reality and things like that we forget that things like that are just a lot of fun. You know, we grew up watching guys like The Undertaker and guys like Kane for the last 20, 25 years, you know, doing things like summoning lightning and fire from the ring posts. So the idea that this swamp hillbilly cult leader can harvest their souls and absorb their powers, I'm 1,000% on board with it.
Yes, it did feel so old school, didn't
absolutely.
it? Yeah, like I kind of felt like I was like 6 years old
the
watching
fact
it.
the fact that he has both of their powers, really, in theory, in terms of the storyline, kind of makes him, you know, supremely powerful. So I think it really depends on how they go from here. You know, how they tell the story going forward.
Yeah, and it makes sense with the match. I mean, you have 4 against 4, and none of them were eliminated.
Right.
So therefore, you know, this backwater hillbilly, he's invincible,
And
therefore his followers
Right.
are invincible, and it shows. I mean, I can't remember the last time I saw Rowan do a spinning back kick, and he did that during this match.
Right.
And it's like, and Luke Harper was in the ring a lot,
Right.
and just like doing all the moves, and it was just like, wow, what is this team? I mean, I've been away from it for a little bit, but not that long. And, you know, maybe they just are imbued with this power.
Exactly.
And you have to wonder, how will somebody get that power away from Bray now?
Right. Ooh. And there's been a lot of talk, and now that Bray Wyatt has consumed their souls and absorbed their powers, will they come back as just men that have to fight this, you know, kind of demigod sort of figure?
Oh, how it affects them as well.
Right, exactly.
Right.
Because you got to think, if he's got their powers, they're, you know, just laying somewhere beaten up and powerless, you know? So if they...
And hatless.
Exactly. Hatless. So if and when they do come back at Survivor Series for potentially either a Survivor Series match or maybe a 4-on-2 match, something like that, you've got to think, what kind of, you know, persona will they be coming back with?
Yeah, versus the Soul Eater, the Summoner.
He's the Eater of Worlds, you know?
He is the Eater of Worlds. Well, let's get into the match a little bit. So this was the Wyatts versus Lucha Dragons and Primetime Players.
4-on-4 Survivor Series rules.
Survivor Series elimination match. Tried and true. It was a good one. Titus O'Neil had some major displays of strength there at the beginning. He was kind of the only one who got to do anything. And reminded us that, you know, Braun Strowman isn't the only guy who can throw around these big guys.
Sure.
Titus can do it too.
Yeah, I did enjoy because, you know, these are very athletic guys. I kind of think of it as stunt cosplay. I always thought about that with wrestling.
That's such a good term.
I love it. That's what got me into
stunt cosplay.
Stunt cosplay. But it's like, I love the bits of like personality and like character interaction that happen, like near the beginning of the match when you see Darren Young and he's going to town. I forget who was in the ring with him right then, but he's going to bounce off the rope, and then Braun Strowman's right there, and then Braun's just like staring him down. He's just like, and he's like, okay, back to the match. Oh, I'm psyched out. It's not going to happen.
And there was
like that.
There was a lot of good, really imagery in this match. You know, when Darren Young, he was the first one eliminated, and Braun Strowman, he's got that hanging arm triangle over him, and it's over the ropes, and he chokes him out, and then just lets him fall to the ground.
That was not a hug, people. It looked very sweet, but that was not a hug.
It was maybe a hug in the way that like Lenny from Of Mice and Men might hug someone, but you know, he just lets him kind of collapse in a heap to the ground, and he gets counted out. You know, and I think. And I've said it before, I think Braun Strowman, they've really been giving him kind of the royal treatment in terms of how they build monsters. You know, this is how you build an unstoppable force. And so, you know, if they keep going with this, I think they've only got, you know, upwards to go.
Yeah, they're on board with him. Toot toot.
But like you said, I think, you know, Titus O'Neil, the king of the hot tag, he had a lot of, you know, it was down to him. He was the remaining member on his team. And so he got a chance to really, really kind of put in some work. And, you know, obviously he didn't end up coming out victorious, but I think we got a glimpse of Titus, the underdog, which we don't usually see.
Yeah, he's one that people complain don't get enough time.
Well, I could see that. I could see that, definitely.
Sure.
They seem to not really know what to do with him. He keeps on getting matched around different places.
Yeah.
Slater Gator, now he's back on Primetime Players. And
Well,
such,
and they were
you know.
pushing the hell out of Primetime Players, and then they seem to have kind of put that on hold.
Definitely. But talking of underdogs with it, I really, special place in the heart for the underdog Callisto.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah. Oh my. You know what? He wouldn't give up. There was no give up
He
in that.
cleared the ring
in that
at one point.
Exactly. My absolute favorite part was when he tried to do that hip throw with Rowan, and it's just like, no, don't do it. It's
Right,
not gonna happen. And then that was the beginning of the end for him. Yeah. Oh.
The beginning of the end. Eric Rowan delivers a full Nelson. Kalisto is eliminated. But yeah, Titus was the last man standing on that one. He is eventually eliminated by Bray Wyatt, and all the Wyatts survive, thus supporting this idea that they have all the power.
Yes, they're, what would it be, an unmovable force?
Yes.
Absolutely.
Unstoppable force. Where's the immovable object?
Right.
Okay.
I don't know. Bray might have already eaten the souls and eaten the powers
Exactly.
of that. So.
Carried it out and had it for dinner.
He breaks out like an amulet, like in Monster Squad.
Oh, sure.
That's like, this is the power.
Sure.
This is the power.
Get some like Chikara, like Eye of Tears sort of stuff we got going on.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Oh, well, you guys, this is a very special time in our show. And this is one that I like to call Believe That. Now, I'm going to give you guys a rumor from, as Christian calls them, the dirt sheets, the rag mags, and whatever.
Sure.
He hates them. I love them. Let me tell you about something I read there, and tell me if you believe that, or if you would like to give this ring rumor a rack attack. So this one actually is coming from the Wrestling Observer. I don't usually give you the source, but they're a little bit more credible than some of the other ones I go to.
They're pretty credible, yeah.
So they are saying that Sting is healed from his Night of Champions injury, and that he could possibly be The Undertaker and Kane's partner at Survivor Series.
I think I believe
Ty,
that.
Markeia, do we believe that?
I think I believe that. I think if there's anyone that could be on the level of, you know, joining forces with the Brothers of Destruction against this, you know, irresistible force, this immovable object, I think it would have to be the Vigilante. You know, there's not many people that could fill that role except for Sting.
Yeah, that's just it. Who else would it be?
Right.
I have to believe it because I really want that to happen. So
It's just wishful thinking.
So it's just like, yes, please, I wish. Let's have it.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Well, and in the absence of all the huge superstars, you know, having these old guys back in the mix is just another good thing, right?
Definitely.
Yeah. So
Well, yeah, it only makes the younger guys better because you get to wrestle with your legends.
Right. That's how we get programs like the Dudleys and the New Day, you know?
yes. See, for once, people, they believe that. Mission accomplished.
What other paranormal type character, like larger than life character, would be the number 4 then?
Yeah, right? Can
I
we
mean,
bring
like Papa Shango's the only one that comes to mind, but I don't know if that would fit.
Papa
That would be
Shango?
so awesome.
I would lose my mind if Papa Shango came back. Just made like Luke Harper just like bleed black stuff from his forehead.
That guy.
That terrified me as a kid. Absolutely. Who else is there?
I don't know,
I mean, maybe
part of that, like, that dynamic, that family of
Right?
just like, kind of supernatural and crazy.
Yeah, let's bring Marcus Louis up from NXT with his Phantom of the Opera gimmick. You know, no hair, no eyebrows. Let's throw him in the mix.
I love it. Maybe we'll be reading that on the blog rolls next week. I'll keep you all posted. So at this point on the SmackDown show, Renee Young talks to Dean Ambrose. I am just loving these promos with her and Dean. We talked about it last week. I'm like, we all know that they're a real life couple, and we know that this is funny and cute. Kevin Owens interrupted this one, calls himself the greatest intercontinental champion of all time. Ambrose, of course, points out, hey, I pinned you on Raw, dude. So what does that make me? Right?
Yeah. And I loved it. And I think, like you said, you know, there is that real life dynamic between Renee and Dean. That's why it made it so much funnier when Kevin was like, you know what? You're annoying Renee. Yeah. Like, more than anything, you're annoying Renee. That's why I loved it.
I love that. Actually, this whole Renee Dean thing is putting Renee over to me. So everyone knows I've gone back and forth on my Renee opinion.
Oh, have you?
Yes.
Okay.
But I was loving that promo. And speaking of things I love, the next match began with quite a ruckus promo from my favorite man, Ryback. He went up against King Barrett tonight, and this starts off with him talking about, well, he comes out in his full merch. He's got the necklace and the hat and the cutoff sweatshirt thing, which I don't have a problem with. I love it. He's selling it. And he's amped. He's ready to go.
He says he's the king of the jungle.
Yes. And he's ready to feast on a feast fit for a king, or feast on a king, or some kind of wordplay. He was like, look into my eyes. I was like, honey, I'm already there.
Man, just like the way that he was shaking, it was like full of power. It was like a volcano was about to erupt. Yes. Like, oh my goodness.
Love it. Love it. He was kicking out all over the place during the match. It was a short one, but it was pretty good. Ended with him. He hits a shell shock for the win, and King Barrett actually looked shell shocked. He like looked something, like I kind of looked at his face as the camera was going away, and he was kind of like, oh shoot.
There you go.
Yeah, as soon as I saw it, all I could think of was that Ryback was like took on Razar and won.
Yes.
It was like, and he was out. It was done.
Yeah, and it's you know, it was pretty cut and dry. You know, it's as much as it kills me to see Wade Barrett kind of losing all the time. I mean, he's cursed with this gift of making other people look good. Yeah. You know, he and Sheamus had a phenomenal match against the Lucha Dragons on Monday Night Raw, and so I think he gets stuck in these positions of, you know, always the bridesmaid, never the bride. You know, but pretty cut and dry. You know, shell shock for the win.
Yeah, well, and what I've read reports from backstage kind of say that the whole he and Sheamus being a tag team thing is something that they're going to continue to push.
Right.
So they're looking at him more as that being his role right now than worrying about what he's doing in these individual matches.
And I think we are in a spot where we could use some more teams. So. So we'll see. I mean, I don't know. This whole championship tournament could throw all of that out of whack as well.
That's true.
Because we also can't forget that Sheamus has the Money in the Bank contract. So that could come into play at Survivor Series.
Every pay-per-view are like, Sheamus going to cash in?
Right.
You're like, how long is this?
Right, exactly.
Yeah, right? He's going to have to do it sometime. Sometime it's going to happen. Well, Renee comes back to our screen at this point, talks to Team Bad, my favorite girls who we haven't seen a ton of lately. They did come out on SmackDown last week, but we learned that Natty sort of, she's baiting them a little bit. She put out this challenge, and she wants to go up against the leader of the team. Now, this is pretty transparent. We see what you're trying to do, Natty. I respect it. And maybe it worked for Team PCB, but it's not going to work on Team Bad. But then it kind of does.
Sure.
Right? Yeah. So Natalia is in the ring, and she ends up going up against Tamina Snuka.
Right.
After a little bit of
we see a little bit
of
of dissension between Sasha and Naomi, because really, and it was a good bait and switch. You know, everyone thinks if anyone's the leader, it's one of those two. So of course, while they're bickering back and forth, Tamina just kind of walks right through them and says, "You know what? I'm going to take this."
And they were cool with it.
And they were cool with it. And really, it was the best match that Tamina's had, I think, in a long, long time.
Oh, I could agree with that.
Yeah, definitely.
Besides Beast in the East, maybe, which is another one of my faves.
Yeah, definitely. You know, I think she doesn't get a whole lot of chances to show what she can do in the ring, and I think sometimes, you know, she's a victim of, you know, miscommunications, mistiming, things like that. But I think, you know, someone that's been doing it as long as Natalia has can really bring something good out of her. And so I think this was a solid match.
Yeah. Natalia's like the Glenn Close or Meryl Streep for like the divas for WWE. And you know, something that I really enjoyed about this match is that with Team Bad, even with the whole, I'm getting in the ring thing, it was still so, you go, because we're team bad.
Right.
And you saw on the outside of the ring, because I love doing that. I love watching the people on the outside.
Sure.
It's like, what are you doing? Are you keeping up your character? What's going on? And they were on point. Sasha and Naomi, and they were like, and psyching out Natalya. You saw that one time where Naomi had a chance and she saw the ref wasn't looking and smacked Natty in the face right on the ropes. It's like, it's stuff like that. It's just, it's entertaining, it's fun for them, and it's hella fun for me to watch. So I enjoyed that.
Yeah, and we can support a little bit of female camaraderie for once in all this kind of Divas Revolution stuff.
Exactly. Yeah, there's no reason to rush into splitting them up. It's a situation like, I think, like, comparable to the Shield. They're such a good team that we can get a lot of mileage out of it, but eventually when they do break up, we're gonna get 3 really strong stories out of it as well.
And wouldn't that be fun? Because when you think about it, like with the Wyatt family, you don't see them bickering between. They're like a unified thing. This is a whole different way to do it. Yes, more Shield-like, but they could definitely build this up because they have the the separate personalities, but it does fit really well too. And they've got a great name.
Right?
Oh, sure.
So just ride this roller coaster. Do it. Let it happen.
Ride it back, ladies.
Imagine Nia Jax and Tamina Snuka as like the new version of like the natural disaster.
Oh wow, that's really cool.
That's my new favorite idea.
I love it. I love it.
The
Definitely.
Samoan sorority.
Yes. Yes. The Samoan sorority.
That one will be a little bit safer to Google.
Yeah. Google that first. Have WWE Google that first.
Oh, I'm excited for Nia Jax to come out. I'm sure we will be talking about her on our SmackDown show.
She's been doing
soon.
some good stuff down in NXT. Really good.
Yeah. Well, Natty counters a frog splash from Tamina and rolls her up for the win. Yes, that's what happened. I kind of just still think that Tamina's mad at Natty for doing all the talking when they were on Table of 3. Right? I mean, it was like the Natty show. Shush up. So this seems like a perfect time for a little bit of Divas news, which you may have already heard, but we want to talk about. The PWI Female 50 list has come out. My girl, Nikki Bella is #1. Finally gets some recognition. I'm sure there's a lot of opinions out there about that, but congratulations to her. Paige is #2, and Sasha is #3 and pissed. She is so mad, you guys. She released a meme about it. She's angry. I say, you can't have it all right out of the gate. You know what I mean? Like, I have a lot of respect for Sasha, but I think, you don't want to... I think they're more careful this time about not doing the same thing with Sasha as they did with Paige. Paige was just too much pushing, like, oh, she's here now, and she's the best one forever, and now look what's happened to that. So I would tell Sasha, like, just chill. It's okay. I'm sure you'll make the top of the list for the next 10 years. It's fine.
Yeah. I think the problem... the problem that happened with Paige was that there wasn't a whole lot to go with her. You know what I mean?
That's true.
I mean, she was really good, and they had this fun character for her that kind of degenerated into this crazy high school-esque thing with AJ Lee. It's because it didn't feel like she really had anybody that she could really go up against besides Natalya, and then like Naomi, they tried that out. And it just felt like she was an island by herself. And like now there's a whole lot of other people around that we can have, we've got Sasha and there's Charlotte and everything, and now it could work. But I do agree with you. Sasha didn't need to be #1, although she's really, really attractive, and oh my God, don't hurt me.
We do love her.
And
I would have liked to see her at #2.
Well, I think so. So you guys are talking about Paige, and I don't think it necessarily didn't work what they did with her. I think they pushed her so hard.
That's because all men love Paige.
That's not true. That's not true at all. I know plenty of men, but I think they pushed her so hard. They put her over on AJ Lee. She was the only woman to hold both the Divas and the NXT Women's titles at the same time, and I think that actually did a lot to raise her credibility in the eyes of fans, because she's been wrestling for years now. She's a second generation wrestler.
Yeah.
And I think it did work, because look at, she's a credible threat to the Divas title, and she hasn't been around very long. And I think in terms of that, I think it was mission accomplished.
Okay, well, yeah, not saying anything against that. It's just that she didn't have real competition,
right?
And that was the thing. So I'm glad that they've moved up a whole lot of other people.
Sure.
And then I really want to see more of Charlotte. So looking forward to that.
Yeah, I'm so sorry that I don't have the details as to where she landed on that list. She must be like number 4.
It's got to be in the top 10. Absolutely, yeah.
And I'm thinking, like I said, for the next 10 years, I'm pretty sure it'll be Paige and Sasha bouncing back and forth.
And
I think
for Sasha, for Sasha to have gotten even number 3, I think is a huge accomplishment.
Yeah.
The fact that she hasn't been on the main roster for very long at all. Theoretically, this number 3 is based mostly on her work in NXT and her work against Bayley, and I think that that's a testament to how good their matches have been.
Yes. Well, yeah, that was part of what she kind of put out there.
For someone
4 match of the year candidacies,
sure.
And the first woman in the Iron Women's match.
I mean, yeah, for someone that's only been on the main roster for, how long has it been? 3-4 months, maybe?
Yeah.
To get number 3 on the top 50 women in the world is pretty huge.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yeah, and she's just so at the top with everything. I think maybe this was a shock to her because she just is getting so much praise.
Well, I think you look at
take the minute to take a breather.
Well, you look at the Sasha Banks character. Of course, she's going to be furious with anything that's not number 1.
Oh, that's true. That it's just part of.
Yeah, but she's like secretly jazzed.
Yeah.
Why do guys get 500 and chicks only get 50?
Right?
Yeah, and then I've heard that like the only 2 numbers that matter are number 1 and the last one.
That's exactly right. Those are the only numbers that people flip to. I've been reading the PWI 500 since I was 8 years old, and those are the only numbers that you flip to. You flip to number 1 and you flip to 500, and you've never heard of 500, but you know that he's number 500.
Oh, I love it. Well, congrats to all the ladies who made the list. And now let's move on to our main event of the evening. I know you guys were amped about this one. Kevin Owens versus Dean Ambrose.
Yeah.
Yes. And we knew that was going to get dirty and brutal and crazy.
And we've got two indie standouts. We've got, if internet fans knew 5 years ago that Kevin Steen versus Jon Moxley would be main eventing a SmackDown, no one would have believed it. But I think that it shows how versatile they are, that they can come from such storied careers on the indies and have such a perfectly WWE styled main event match. And still putting their own spin on it.
Right.
Oh, yeah. Ambrose did that in spades.
Oh, sure.
I loved it. Oh, with the head slapping and then just his outfit that he chooses, or wardrobe chooses, for him to wrestle in. I expect for him to come out, take his wallet and his keys, and set them on the side and be like, let's do this.
He wasn't even planning to wrestle. Exactly.
I love it. Actually, it's a good thing you guys are here. This whole episode would have been about wardrobe and storylines and Total Divas, because that is usually what I focus on. But you know what? I always wonder about those jeans. They have to be like special, like stretchy jeans. Right? They're like athletic. They're like ones that are made for break dancers on award shows.
Well, just for the chafe factor, I hope so.
Right?
For, his comfort, please.
Yeah.
Oh, I love
Wrestling
it.
in jeans is not fun.
What are those like pajama pants that look like jeans?
Yeah.
Exactly.
I'm pretty sure that's what they
Or
are.
maybe they're jeggings, which is
Sure.
looser.
Loose jeggings. Well, this one culminates in a fake low blow. A phantom low blow. What did we think about this, people? This was not even a mid to low blow. This was a high blow.
Right. And I went back and forth on this finish, because at first, if they were just going to leave it at the DQ, I wasn't really happy with it, because we've got one of their most senior officials in the ring, Charles Robinson, Lil Nature Boy. We're supposed to believe that he just decides to call the match just based on Kevin Owens' word for it, without even seeing a replay. But then the more I think about it, the more I realize this is kind of their version of a Dusty finish. And with Kevin Owens being the IC champion, they've got to kind of have both of them come out on top. You think about the original function of a Dusty finish. It was, you had a heel champion touring, and you had a face challenger that he did beat him. He almost beat him, and he got that huge reaction from the crowd, and the crowd knew that he could beat him, and then all of a sudden it gets turned. Right. So really, they both come out on top, and so I think really it was the only way that they could have gone.
I love your formulaic observations, Tyler. I like it.
Very nice.
I like it so deep.
There was a lot of fun in this match for me. I liked the play. I'll just put it right out there. I haven't followed Kevin Owens. I don't know a lot about Kevin Owens. I got to see him in a house show, and every now and again now, and obviously, the pay-per-view. So I'm not on board with Kevin Owens, and I've always been on board with Dean Ambrose, but I did enjoy this match. In particular, Kevin did this move where he just basically back slammed into the midsection of Ambrose. And I remember Jerry Lawler saying, "Ooh, that'll knock some of the craziness out of Ambrose."
Good one, Lawler.
Oh man, I had to stop for a second.
Yeah.
But I did really enjoy with what Owens was doing. I saw it. He was working that midsection from the front and the back when he was slamming him into the wall and then doing stuff on the ropes.
Right.
It's like that's a really good technique. But take out that center.
And exactly, and not only
Ambrose
that,
is a berserker.
Right.
You take that out, he's not going to be able to do as much.
If he can't breathe, he can't move.
Exactly.
And guys like Kevin Owens, he uses all of his body weight. He's a big, thick guy. He uses things like sentons and cannonballs in the corner.
Yeah.
He uses every pound of his body weight against his opponent. So theoretically, I think that's why it works so well.
And then, just like with technique in it, with this whole thing with the low blow, you saw that Ambrose had worked himself up to the berserker state.
Yeah.
He was there. He was hitting the head and throwing himself around the ring. And
Markeia was loving it.
Yes. I love personality and I love craziness in wrestling. And he was getting ready to go to town, and then did that, and then all of a sudden, no, that wasn't my stomach. Those were the jewels.
The reason
that was the prize.
The reason I came around so much on this finish, and the reason I love it so much, is because Kevin Owens is such a perfect schoolyard bully right now. Because if you watch his matches, he never stops talking. He's talking to the crowd. He's talking to the referee. He's talking to Jerry Lawler at ringside. He's the guy that if you were playing Mortal Kombat or Street Fighter, if he was about to lose, he would unplug the console.
Oh,
he's that
screw
guy.
that kid.
He's that guy, exactly.
Get
and
out
so
of my house.
of course, in the story of the match, Dean Ambrose is really, like you said, working into that berserker state. So it's a desperation move. He's like, okay, I'm gonna, make it to where he hit a low blow.
Yeah.
And so I think it really worked perfectly with his character.
Yeah, with a little bit of theatrics.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
He's just a jerk. We talked about a little on Raw. His gimmick is he's just a real life troll.
Yes.
He's just trolling people.
They
hate that.
It's like he's Natty's husband.
Well, I felt the same way about Kevin Owens when he first started coming around as you do, Markeia, and he kind of grew on me, and fans all told me that he would, and he did. So I don't know. So be careful for that. He might be growing on you.
People that followed him on the indies were really there. They're waiting for this. They're waiting for the WWE universe to come around on him.
Yeah.
Did you follow Moxley on the indies? Because you didn't.
Not a lot. If that was that, because he was a lot in CZW, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't follow a whole lot of CZW, but
And he did a lot of Dragon Gate USA.
Yeah, that's right. He was kind of one of their first stars, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and so I think guys, like Kevin Owens, especially once Sami Zayn returns, people can really get a taste of what he can do.
Oh, I will have a lot to say about that when that happens. Do you guys want to add anything about tonight's SmackDown?
It was a solid show. Definitely, there's going to be a lot of eyeballs on Raw after the news of today.
Yeah.
But with what they had, it was a great show. I don't watch SmackDown all that often, so it was a treat to sit and watch it again.
It's okay to admit it. It's okay.
Well, after this, I'm really looking forward to the progression of Bray now, knowing that his powers extend to the entire Wyatt family, or Wyatt cult.
Absolutely.
Then I want to see, and then I also want to see a couple of singles matches or a couple of 2 versus 2 without Bray, and see if that power still extends, because you can also do a play with it. If they lose, maybe that makes him weaker. So there's a whole lot of fun with that.
Well, there will be more great SmackDown up ahead. I know this week definitely redeemed itself from last week's Halloween episode, which we were very hard on. So we will be back breaking it down. I hope that you guys can come and join us again sometime soon.
Sure.
Until then, please tell everyone where to keep up with you. Markeia is a very funny lady, people. Tell them where to see you.
Well, you can talk with me on Twitter at Markeia McCarty, Markeia McCarty. Or what Christy means is that I also do improv. I do that at IO. I'm part of a team called we're called Bear Hug. It's wrestling-inspired improv, but not wrestling on stage. That and Doctor Who Live, which is the second and fourth Saturday at IO.
Nice.
All right, well, check it out.
You can find me on Twitter, on Instagram at TyMatthewsPMA. One thing I forgot to mention earlier, I've been a pro wrestler myself for about 15 years now. I'm a manager as well. You can catch me on Championship Wrestling from Hollywood every Saturday afternoon, 4 p.m. KDOC locally, U2 America nationally. Or if you're in LA, you want to come see it live, we tape at the Ocean View Pavilion in Port Hueneme every second and fourth Sunday of the month. And you can also read my writing in Alternative Press Magazine and on Smosh.com.
All right, she's all over the place. I have my DVR set for Championship Wrestling from Hollywood.
There you go.
And you guys can all keep up with me at Christy Reports, and please check out also ChristyReports.com and subscribe to my YouTube channel at Christy Reports. I am going to be interviewing a couple of the female superstars tomorrow at a red carpet, so make sure you check back for that, and we will see you next time. Scott and Christian will be back for Ty, Markeia, and myself. Thank you for joining us. We will see you. Have a great week.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire Afterbuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the Afterbuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterbuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of Afterbuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.